Well, my name is Jorn. I work at RecruitNow, which is a company in the Netherlands. It's making an ATS, an applicant tracking system. I've been there for 5 years. Started as a backend developer, and I've grown previous year to a lead developer role. And actually, RecruitNow is the first company that I worked at that is not using a relational database. It's using a document store-based database, RavenDB. And that was my first intro to it. And well, started using it, super easy to use. And I've quite grown in love with it. And I'm here to talk to you about a couple of things that I really enjoyed about it and how I use it on a day-to-day basis, things that I'm running into, and how RavenDB helps me in solving these issues. So we transitioned, or I was used to using SQL, so a lot of rows and a lot of different tables, and making sure that we have relations to other kinds of tables, etc. That's the daily job on SQL. You deal with that every day. Going to a NoSQL structure, RavenDB, you have more of that document-based structure. And you will find it quite logical. It all falls into one place, that all the data that you need for your object is already in one place. You have this lovely JSON structure. It's easy to read, it's easy to open. You can share that info with other developers without them having to go over lines of SQL rows, if you will. And instead you have this nice document that contains all that data, all that business logic, I almost want to say, in that exact same place. And it prevents you from going to all these different tables and making all kind of complex join relations that you're completely used to in a SQL database. And that's something that's now gone. That's a lot of time saved on that process alone. Without joking, seriously, less than a week, you're completely used to that. And once you start using that, you're really asking yourself, what I've been doing all these past few years. I mean, SQL sure has its uses for some cases, but in our daily job and the ease of use, having a non-relational database at your disposal, that is what makes it so useful. And it's a supernatural process. I didn't really have to take a training for that to start with. After a couple of years to learn some more advanced stuff, sure. But to start with and to get a grasp of it and to get up and running, that took no effort at all. The first thing that you learn, the first thing you're doing is querying a single document. You're getting an ID, you just query it, it comes back, you have this lovely data object ready to use. It's strongly typed right away, making changes, saving that back to the database. It doesn't get any easier than that, to be honest. That's within 1 week you're up and running with that. The more challenging things come slightly later on. So something that I do in my daily job is, next to developing features, querying data, saving data, is making sure that that data is also, if they're getting more complex and you need to query larger lists of data and keeping that streamlined, that is something where the Raven Studio really helps out, because you can find that data so incredibly fast. It is not some complex lookup scheme that you need to find out first and need to memorize all kinds of index keys out of your head. You just have your single ID, you fill it into that top search bar in the right corner, and you're there. You have your data at hand. You can query on the spot. That is not only something that saves you a lot of time, it gets you to the core where you need to be. And that is especially if you take on support issues as well, next to developing features, is you need to get there fast. You want to have a fast answer. And not only is the UI of Raven Studio real fast, that data is there real fast. There's no load time, there's no complex joining that needs to be done and you're sitting around for 20, 30 seconds before some super large join is ready. It's just there. And that's how you designed it. And that is also part, I think, of how Raven as a company has structured it. All the data that is relevant to each other is already in the same spot. You don't have to get data from all kinds of corners around the world. Honestly, I cannot recommend it enough. I have lots of friends, colleagues who use all kinds of different systems, and they all have their shared uses. The simplicity of it, again, Raven UI helps out a lot, both if you want to run it locally or just in a cloud. It's easy to set up, it's easy to debug. I have had multiple times also that I needed to call out to support because I had some odd query that was automatically produced that I didn't understand. And I was just wondering, can I improve on this? And I called to support, or I sent them an email, and they reached back to me within a day. And it wasn't just a quick answer. They all provided all kinds of charts, a plan of different steps that I could do to improve upon what we already had without suggesting a complete upgrade of the system, which we were going to do anyway. But apart from that, we had something to go on, and they thought along with us. That is an extra part that I was not used to having available. Sure, we could call in some consultant who was really good at a relational database, and they would be very costly, and sure, eventually we would find things, but that would take weeks often to find out. We had an answer ready on the go, even fixing things on production as we go along. And that's invaluable really to us as a company. If you've touched RavenDB, you don't want to go back to anything else.